Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to my. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to my Saturday morning's live stream about IELTS for skills. Our local time is 5:22 a.m. Saturday, and once again, I'm with my subscriber chat. As you might be aware, all the subscriber chats are only for the subscribers, for the students of the teacher. And even if you want to join in the comment section, you are not able to make comments because how this has been designed by the Hallo. Okay, so you have to bear in mind that if you like to join, if you're interested to join any of the lessons with any of the teacher on Hallo, you need to subscribe, and that's the Hallo rule and policy. And it's very easy. You visit to the account of the teacher and sign up from there. It's $10 only, US $10. And in return, what are you going to get? In return, you're going to get, 8 lessons in a month, 2 lessons every week. Each lesson has 1 hour duration. And in those lessons or classes, you can have the interaction with the teacher. You can talk to the teacher, you can read, you can speak, you can practice, you can ask any questions. You can bring your homework. So these are the general activities or workshops you can do with the teacher when you have subscribed to the teacher. All right, guys. So these are the basic rules how you can join the subscriber chat of any teacher. And as you might be aware, many teachers have good number of followers and subscribers, which is why nowadays many teachers do not come on public live stream anymore. It will be difficult for you as a student to interact with the teacher if you're not a subscriber to the teacher. Okay, so let's move on, guys. It's Saturday morning. We're going to start with the BBC 6 Minutes English Learning podcast, and after that, we'll come back to our main lesson. So give me one quick moment. I'll be back. So today's 6 Minutes BBC English Learning topic is why we forget the things we learn. Let's move on.
6 Minute English from bbclearningenglish.com.
Hello, this is 6 Minute English from BBC Learning English. I'm Georgina.
And I'm Rob.
Do you have a good memory, Rob? Can you remember people's names or where you left your car keys?
Well, I can remember people's faces, but I have a terrible memory for names. And sometimes I'll be eagerly reading a book, but then a week later, I can't remember a single thing about it.
Well, you're not alone. Many people find it hard to remember things they've read or learned, while other sometimes useless information sticks with them.
In this program, we'll be finding out why we forget the things we've learned, whether that's someone's name, a word in English, or where you put your wallet.
But first, let me ask you my quiz question, Rob, before I forget. You and I might struggle to remember someone's phone number, but Chinese student Chao Lu has a record-breaking memory. In 2005, she recited the numbers of pi, the mathematical equation describing the proportions of a circle, but how many digits did she manage to remember? Was it A, 48,000, B, 68,000, or C, 88,000.
Wow, it sounds like Xiao Lu has an incredible memory. I'll say she remembered B, 68,000 digits of pi.
Okay, Rob, let's remember to find out the answer at the end of the program.
Okay, will do. Now, someone like Xiao Lu might have a photographic memory, the ability to remember things in exact detail, like looking at a photograph. But for the rest of us, things are more complicated.
Dr. Jared Horvath is an educational neuroscientist at the University of Melbourne. According to him, there are 2 rules which explain how we remember information.
Listen to Dr. Horvath talking to BBC World Service programme The Y Factor and see if you can hear the 2 rules he mentions.
Rule number 1 is repetition is key. The odds of remembering something after a one-off are incredibly slim, unless you can immediately link it to something you already understand. So my middle name is Cooney. If I ever meet someone named Cooney, I'll never forget that because I have an immediate link. But if I meet someone named Joe, So a one-off is, we all pretty much suck at it, unless we focus. So rule 2 then becomes we remember what we focus on.
The first rule for remembering is repetition. The odds, meaning the probability of remembering something, are low if you learn it as a one-off, something that only happens once.
Dr. Horvath's second rule is about focus. We remember what we focus on. This involves making links between new information and something you already understand.
These are the most effective methods of remembering, and most of us suck at or are bad at other ways of remembering things.
Now, of course, one group of people who need good memory is students. Do you remember cramming for school exams, Georgina?
Ah, yes, staying up late trying to revise everything the night before an exam. I remember doing that, but it didn't work.
Yes, Dr. Horvath's research found that students who cram for tests forget around 90% of what they studied within 72 hours.
He thinks education shouldn't be about trying to cram students' heads with facts and figures. It should involve something more meaningful, as he explains to BBC World Service's The Y Factor.
And the thing that I like about education is it's really moving from a model of just memorize as much as you can into what we now call deep learning, which is instead of giving you 100 things and I just need to know that you can remember them, I'm going to give you 10 things. Instead of just being able to remember them, I want you to be able to describe it deeply and come up with new ways of looking at it.
Traditionally, education involves memorizing, learning information exactly as it is so you can repeat it later.
But being able to repeat something like a parrot doesn't always mean you understand it. Dr. Horvath advocates a technique called deep learning, a complete way of learning something that means you fully understand and will not forget.
So remember, repetition, focus, and deep learning are the memory muscles we need. Maybe that's how Chinese student Xiao Lu developed her record-breaking memory. You do remember your quiz question, don't you, Georgina?
Yes, thank you, Rob. My memory isn't that bad. I asked you how many digits of the mathematical equation pi she could remember.
And I said B, 68,000 digits.
Which was the correct answer. Actually, the number was so long it took her over 24 hours without a break to recite it all.
Oh wow, her brain must have been aching after all that. Okay, let's recap the vocabulary from this program, starting with a photographic memory, which is the ability to remember things in exact detail, like looking at a photograph.
The odds of something happening mean the chances that it will happen.
A one-off is something that only happens once.
To suck at something is an informal way to say be bad at doing something. It's more common in American English.
If you memorize something, you learn it exactly so that you can repeat it later.
And finally, deep learning describes a complete way of learning something so that you fully understand it and will not forget it.
Okay, well that's all from us, but don't forget to join us again soon for more trending topics and top tips to help you remember useful and everyday English vocabulary. Bye for now.
Bye.
6 Minute English.
From the BBC.
Okay, dear viewers, That's the BBC 6 Minutes English. Today's topic was why we forget whatever we learn. That's really pretty explanation. I believe that they have listened to it carefully. And if you'd like to listen to this podcast, which is free, please visit BBC's podcast, and you'll be able to find the links with the different kinds of videos which will help you understand, develop, and your confidence level. Remember that because English is a second language and you need to practice a lot. Without practicing, there is no way you can learn. Without, being consistent, there is no way you can develop yourself and take your English language to the next level. Which is why from this Hallo app, we have got a feature called Instamatch. And through Instamatch, you'll find the instant matching partner for speaking. As we've got around 1.4 million members around the world, when you go to the Instamatch and connect to another person, you'll be able to join to the person and talk to them. Remember, English learning is nothing but practicing daily on a regular basis by planning a lot, by being consistent, by being hard worker, by being more passionate. Okay, so let's move on, guys. Uh, this lessons was requested by one of my subscriber who is not here today, about the conditionals. If you remember, last week we described the conditional sentences, zero conditional, and today we'll discuss conditional type 1 or first conditional. Let's move on. So once again, what is conditional, guys? If we remember, I'm just sharing the screen. So conditional sentences are those sentences which are the effect of some conditions of grammar. Let's move on again. Last week, we explained and discussed zero conditional. And this week, we're going to talk about first conditional. So these are the conditionals again. Let's change the font. So conditionals describe the result of a certain condition. Hello Rajbir, welcome. I believe that you should update your mobile app. Thanks for coming back. Because it's a subscribers lesson, basically the non-subscribers are not allowed by the Hello regulation, and because you haven't updated your app, which is why you are able to come back and make a comment. So let's move on. What are conditional sentences? Once again, conditionals describe the result of a certain condition, and generally, as you see, we always use if clause or unless or when. Okay, when we start any condition or sentences, if you study hard and the main clause tells you the result, you will pass your exam. The order of the clause doesn't change the meaning, which means that Sometimes you can start the sentence with if, or the if can be, in the middle of the sentence. If you remember, let's, recall there are 4 types of conditionals: zero conditional, first conditional, second conditional, third conditional. Many grammarians say there is another one which is mixed conditional. By the way, dear viewers, this live stream has been shared through my Facebook Live as well as through my YouTube channel. Some people are watching from there. Welcome all the people who have joined from there. Very good morning to you. If you're watching from the Asian countries or European countries, it's early morning here already, as I mentioned. Okay, so first conditional. So what is the first conditional? We need to understand first conditional before we go on to details explanation. We use the first conditional to talk about a realistic situation in the present. The structure of the first conditional is as follows. So if present simple, 50% possibility, and the second part of the sentence or clause. So remember, dear viewers, if present simple, there will be comma after that. Then will plus verb, can plus verb, must plus verb, or imperative form, 100% certainty. Let me make it a little bit bigger so that you can see it clearly. The first conditional is also called conditional type 1, is a structure used for talking about the possibilities in the present or in the future. Here are some examples. If you are free later, we can go for a walk. If they're hungry, I'll make some sandwiches. If you're not back by 5 p.m., give me a ring. Look at the sentence patterns, that starts with if, with the present tense, present simple, or present indefinite simply. And the second part after comma is we can go for a walk. First example. The second one is I'll make some sandwiches, and give me a call, give me a ring. And the next example is if he studies hard, he'll do well in the exam. I think I should change all this red color to black, because oh, why all of them are red? Hang on a moment, guys. I'm going to change this color to black. So that is great. Now it's look better than before. So if you're free later, once again, we can go for a walk. If they're hungry, I'll make some sandwiches. If you're not back by 5 p.m., give me a ring. If he studies hard, he'll do well in the exam. If you arrive late, we must get taxi. He'll call if he needs help. Now look at these patterns. When we use if in the middle, we don't need to use comma, but in the former cases, we must use comma, okay? And that's the part of the sentence writing and the sentence structure. Remember that comma is the part of punctuation and which must be used correctly. And if you remember, full stop in British English and period by the American English. So then comma, then semicolon, colon, question mark, exclamatory mark, and there are many other punctuation that we use while we write. And also we should follow these punctuation patterns while we are talking. Otherwise, many a times, our conversation do not make sense. Our words sometimes will not be able to give you the realistic idea of what you're talking about. Okay, so let's move on. The comma is one of them. Like, he'll call if he needs help. Take a break if you are tired. Another way to make first condition sentences is to use unless, which means only if or except. As with if, the word unless can never be followed by will, but only by present simple. For example, okay, so which means that we can also make the first conditional using unless. In that case, the unless means only if or except. And now, and in this case, we do not use will, but we use other present simple. Unless you hurry up, you won't catch the bus. I'll carry on doing this work unless my boss tells me to do something else. Okay. We'll stay at home unless the weather improves. So if you replace the unless with if, the sentences give the same scenario, same meaning. Now let's replace this unless with if. If you hurry up, you see, in that case, we have to make negative sentence. If you not hurry up, if you do not hurry up, you won't catch the bus. I'll carry on doing this work unless if my boss doesn't tell me to stop. Now, when you're changing unless, remember that there is a negative impact on the sentence. And that is very much important to understand. Unless and if. Look at the more examples. If it rains, I won't go to the park. Let me make it a little bigger. If it rains, okay, and dear viewers, once again, if you see the heart-shaped symbol, please touch it once to support me. It doesn't cost you anything. So by touching the heart-shaped symbol is the only way saying thanks to the live streamer, whether it's a teacher or a student. All right, so remember that it is an important for us being a Hello user. We should support and help each other, and we must, we must always cooperate with everyone. Okay, so let's move to the next examples. If it rains, I won't go to the park. If I study today, I'll go to the party tonight. If I have enough money, I'll buy some new shoes. She'll be late if the train is delayed. Look at this sentence. The first part, if is present, it rains. The second part is future simple or future indefinite. I won't go to the park. Now, next example, if I study today, I'll go to the party tonight. So, first part is again present simple, and the second one is future simple, future indefinite. If I have enough money, once again, if I have enough money, I'll buy some new shoes. So you can make thousands of sentences with this pattern. Like, if I have enough money, I can visit London. If I have enough money, I can visit New York. If I have enough money, I'll buy an expensive car. If I have enough money, I'll buy a house for us. If I have enough money, I will donate for the poor people. If I have enough money, I'll help you. So conditionals always, opens a new way of making sentences. Okay, so I believe that when you learn something, a new rule, a new grammar rule, remember to practice it, apply it in your writing as well as in your speaking. So next one is, she'll be late if the train is delayed. Okay, so look at this. Now, when you're using if, we do not use any comma. So if the train is delayed, we can always change the sentence. Then comma, she'll be late. She'll miss the bus if she doesn't leave soon. On the other way around, if she doesn't leave soon, comma, she'll miss the bus. If I see her, I'll tell her. Look, if I see her, comma, I'll tell her. Now you can rearrange the sentence. I'll tell her if I see her. Meaning is same. All right, the next is, it is also common to use this structure with unless, as long as soon as, or in case instead of if. Look at these examples. Let me make it a bit bigger. So I'll leave as soon as the babysitter arrives. What does the meaning of as soon as? As soon as has another meaning, which is same as when. Okay, so if you replace as soon as and when, it becomes also first conditional. So I'll leave when the babysitter arrives. I don't want to stay in London unless I get a well-paid job. And in this case, you can also replace unless with if. I don't want to stay in London if I don't get a well-paid job. In that case, the sentence structure, because unless has a negative meaning, so we have to change to, I'm going to write it down once again, guys. Just keep watching. If I don't want to stay in London unless I get a well-paid job, or I don't want to stay in London if I don't get a well-paid job. I'll give you a key in case. I'll give you a key in case I'm not at home. All right, you see, this is another example of first conditional. I'll give you a key if I'm not at home. So you can replace the in case with if. Next one is, you can go to the party as long as you're back by midnight. So we can replace the as long as with when or maybe if. Let's try. You can go to the party if you are back by midnight. Yes, that's a sensible sentence. So there is a comparison with the first conditional, zero conditional. We'll go back later. Let's recap and rewrite some of these sentences. So once again, dear viewers, first conditional are those sentences when it explains the present with the future in a realistic situation. Okay, and the if clause tells the condition, and the main clause tells you the result. The orders of the clauses doesn't change the meaning at all. So I've written this part with a red mark so that you can understand. We use the first conditional to talk about realistic situation in the present or future. The structure of the first conditional is as follows. If present simple, comma, then will plus verb, can plus verb, must plus verb, imperative plus verb. Okay, the first conditional is also conditional type and is the structure used for talking about possibility in the present or the future. All right, I'll just restate this sentence one more time. If you are free later, we can go for a walk. Now, let's change. We can go for a walk if you are free later. Just remember and notice that when we are using if in the middle of the sentence, we do not use any comma. That is the important part. There is a comma, guys, okay? And this is the part of the conditional sentence to write it correctly. One moment. So, let's write this sentence again. We can go for a walk if you're free later. Next one, if they're hungry, I'll make some sandwiches. Now, I'll make some sandwiches if they're hungry. Next one, if you're not back by 5 p.m., give me a ring. So let's write it in this way. Give me a ring if you are not back by 5 p.m. If he studies hard, he will do well in the exam. Okay, can we change if with other words? Let me see. If you're free later, we can go for a walk. As long as you're free later, we can go for a walk. Remember, that's also another conditional sentence. Okay. Let me see if I can write it. So that's also possible. As long as you're free later, we can go for a walk. That is possible. If they're hungry, I'll make some sandwiches. Okay. And this sentence can be also rewritten. When you are hungry, I'll make some sandwiches. Okay, so when you are hungry, when he's hungry, when they are hungry, when Jane is hungry, you can replace the subject with a different, person, first person, second person, or third person. Okay, remember that when we try to write anything in English grammar, according to the grammar rule, it must be always logical, clear, understandable by the reader, as long as they can understand. Okay, but if they don't understand your writing, then it will be difficult for you to explain yourself. This is an important matter for us when we learn English grammar and when we try to make comments or try to speak. Our explanation should be always clear. Once again, I use these 4 words: clear, sensible, logical, and meaningful. Because if you write something and your readers do not understand, if you say something the listeners are not able to understand, in that case, I must say that communication has gone wrong somewhere. So you need to find out how it went wrong. And as soon as you understand that it has gone wrong this way or that way, then it will be better for you to amend yourself and try it in a different way. Okay, so if I know what's my weakness, then I will focus is definitely right, dear listeners and viewers. And similarly, when you learn any language, not only English language, if you're learning any other language, or if you're studying any subject for your academic development, you need to focus where you are weak, just to try to study more on that weak point or weaker side, so that we can get good marks in the exam, academic exam or real life exam as well. Okay, and once again, dear viewers, do not forget to touch the heart shape symbol. Your every support is important for me. So let's move on. If you're not back by 5 p.m., give me a ring. We have just rewritten here. Give me a ring if you're not back by 5 p.m. Okay. Can you rewrite it with this sentence? Unless, let us try. Unless you are not back by 5 p.m. Yes, that's also correct. Possible. Give me a ring. So this is another type of rewriting of the conditional sentence. Or you can write this way: give me a ring unless you're not back by 5 p.m. That's cool. Now, if he studies hard, he'll do well in the exam. So we can rewrite it as well. He'll do well, well in the exam if he studies hard. Can you use unless in this case? Yes. Unless he studies hard, he won't in this case. Because remember, unless has a negative meaning, he won't do well in the exam. We have to change this won't. Unless he studies hard, he won't do well in the exam. If we arrive late, we must get a taxi. We must get a taxi if we arrive late. Okay, I missed the A in the taxi. Can you rewrite with a different conditionals word like unless? Let me see. No, unless is not matching in this case. So let's move on. He'll call if he needs help. Look at this sentence though. If he needs help, he'll call. Okay, I think it will be much time consuming. I'll just go back quickly. take a break if you're tired. If you're tired, take a break. Or unless you're tired, don't take a break. Make it a negative sentence. So these are some really cool examples, and I'm sure that you can write and bring more examples when you study by yourself. Remember, dear viewers, the best American teachers or British teachers can give you lessons, give you guidelines, give you, all the hints, information, but at the end of the day, it's you who have to practice a lot. You have to practice by yourself. You have to motivate yourself. Without getting motivation by yourself or practicing yourself, there is no way you can develop it. All right, so just don't depend on for only an hour lesson of the teacher here. You have to study as well by yourself. So another way to make a first conditional sentence to use unless. I've given some examples: only if, except, as with if, the word unless. Okay, unless you hurry up, you won't catch the bus. So we can rewrite this in a different way. You won't catch the bus unless you hurry up. Okay, so you can rewrite it. I'll catch on doing this work unless my boss tells me to do something else. So unless my boss tells me to do something else, I'll carry on doing this work. We'll stay at home unless the weather improves. Unless the weather improves, we'll stay at home. Okay, this stay at home, remember, stay home can be also used as an adverb. Stay home. When the COVID started in this country, in the UK, there is always a slogan from the NHS, National Health Service, for the general public: stay home, save yourself, save your family, or stay at home. Both are correct. Sorry, depending on the context, how you express. Now, more examples. If it rains, I won't go to the park. I won't go to the park if it rains. Now, on the next one, if I study today, I'll go to the party tonight. I'll go to the party tonight if I study today. Once again, if I have enough money, I'll buy some new shoes. I'll buy some new shoes if I have enough money. If you remember, I explained with this type of patterns, you can write thousands of sentences. Make sure your sentences are correct, meaningful, logical, and clear. Okay. She'll be late if the train is delayed. If the train is delayed, she'll be late. She'll miss the bus if she doesn't leave soon. If she doesn't leave soon, she will miss the bus. If I see her later, if I see her, I'll tell her. Okay, so I'll tell her if I see her. It is also common to use in this structure with unless, as long as soon as, in case, instead of. I'll leave as soon as the babysitter arrives. And also it can be replaced by when sometimes, like I'll leave when the babysitter arrives. I don't want to stay in London unless I get a well-paid job. Okay, you can restate it. Don't want to stay in London if I don't get a well-paid job. I'll give you a key in case I'm not at home. You can replace this word in case with if. I'll give you a key if I'm not at home, or if someone is not at home. You can go to the party as long as you're back by midnight. Okay, so these are some examples. Now, very often people ask what's the difference between the first conditional and zero conditional? So we're going to highlight some of the points and features. The first conditional describes a particular situation, whereas the zero conditional describes what happens in general. But remember that in zero conditional, we use always the real life fact, data, universal truth, or practical situation. Okay, let me give you an example in zero conditional. If you sit in the sun, you get burned. So look, this is the real life situation. When you are underneath the sun, because of the hot temperature, there is a possibility that you get burned. So here I'm talking about every time a person sits in the sun, the burning is natural consequence of the sitting. So you can see that that is the reason why we called zero conditional, real life situation, fact, universal truth, data, and practical, happenings. But first conditional, if you sit in the sun, you will get burned. Look at the difference. Here I'm talking about what will happen today. Another day might be different. So which means that if you sit in the sun today, you'll get burned. It doesn't mean if you sit in the sun tomorrow, you might get burned. So that is the very big difference. Once again, look at these two examples. If you sit in the sun, you get burned, zero conditional. But if you explain in a first conditional, if you sit in the sun, you will get burned. So whereas the first sentence describes the general way, the natural consequences of sitting under the sun, and the first conditional explains if you sit in the sun today, you'll get burned. It doesn't mean whether it is going to happen tomorrow or any other day. So we need to be careful about this type of sentences. So dear viewers, that's all about the first conditionals for today, but still I've got some more time, so let's move on with a test. I'm trying to find out the test, honestly, guys, so bear me a moment. Again, and also do not forget to touch the heart shape symbol. We're going to share the test, dear viewers. So let's move on. First conditional exercise. Can you see the screen? I don't know if you can see it or not. Okay, maybe I have to move a little bit. There. No, I don't think that you can see it clearly. All right, let me see how we can do it. Now. Okay. Let me see if I can share from here. Okay, this is better than before. So this is a taste of first conditional. Let's find out some of the examples, making it a bit bigger. Great. Sentence number 1. If you dash, okay, if you don't leave now, it says, and the second part says, if you don't leave, won't leave. If you don't leave now, you miss the bus, or you'll miss the train. I'm sorry, not bus. But this type of exercise is a bit difficult because there are two blanks and nothing has been shown. Okay, so if you don't leave now, you'll miss the bus. Remember, in the first conditional, first part must be present simple and second part must be future simple. So we have to follow this pattern all over the way, or other way around. The second clause, if you just rearrange it, then future simple or first present simple. So if you don't leave now, you'll miss the train. Next one is Peter will pass his exam. Let me see. if he works hard. Look, this is also another example. Peter will pass his exams if he works hard. Number 3, if it rains tomorrow, we will go to the cinema. You see, the first part is present simple again. The second part is future simple. Then the teacher is angry. All right, so I have to change this if we are up. So the teacher will be angry, it should be. Because if you arrive late again tomorrow, the teacher will be angry. The teacher will be angry if you arrive late again tomorrow. All right, so now next one, number 5. I will tell her the news if I see her next week. This is another good example. You see, the first part is future. I'll tell her the news if I see her next week. Then question number 6. I'm sure you can see through the screen. I'll have some takeaway this evening if I finish work late. I'll have some takeaway this evening if I finish work late. So it means that if you are finishing your work late, then you're going to have some takeaway. I'm sure, guys, you know the meaning of takeaway. Take your food, the person means. If you dash more, if you don't practice more, you won't improve. So if you don't practice more, you won't improve. Dear viewers, remember this, the spelling of practice, Pratice. In American English, it can be used both noun and verb. But in British English, we use practice, Pratice, as a noun, and for the verb, we use se. There are thousands of words which are different in spelling in the British English and American English, and you need to be careful when you write it, okay? It is important for you, if you're taking the IELTS exam, that you need to follow the specific type of spelling pattern, either the British way of spelling or the American way of spelling. Do not mix it up when you're writing in the written part, okay? And because it will really not bring the good marks if you mix it up, just follow the British way of spelling writing or the American way of spelling writing, okay? It is important for you as an English learner or an IELTS candidate or any other exams candidate like TOEFL or CELTA or Delta. Next one is, if we dash the bus, if you don't, let us assume, if you don't catch the bus, we'll be late. Yes. If you don't catch the bus, we'll be late. So that is another good example of first conditional. Next one is you. You might have an accident. If you'll drive first, if you'll drive so fast. Okay. I'm not sure whether it's correct or not. What do you think, guys? So we'll find it out in a moment. Then we'll explain one more time. So number 10, if you dash to arrive earlier, if you want to arrive earlier, let's start with this. We'll take the train. If you want to arrive earlier, you will take the train. Actually, you is missing here, basically. So this sentence, the subject is missing. If you want to arrive earlier, you will take the train. Let me see, check answers. Correct? All correct? Look, this is the place where I was confused. So if you might have an accident if you drive first. In this case, use present simple in the if clause, might in the main clause. Remember that in many main clause we can use future as a modal verb. I say so. Might have is a future meaning, so a modal verb and imperative form. If you remember, I just gave you as a taste. We don't use comma because if clause is not second part. Great, good explanation. Similarly, if you want to arrive earlier, you take the train. Imperative sentence. Remember, we don't use future indefinite in that case. Want and take. If you want to arrive earlier, you take the train. It is an imperative sentence. Great. Let me go to the second test. Get ready, guys. Exercise 2. Wow, this is interesting as well. How will you celebrate if you dash the exam? So is it might pass, will pass, or pass? Look at the sentence pattern. How will you celebrate? This is a future simple. If you, definitely we have to use, if you pass the exams, it should be C. Remember that one is future simple, another is present simple. You, okay? So number 2, when you see Tom, you dash surprised to see how much he has changed. Choose 2 correct options. So which means that in this sentence there are 2 possible answers. So when you see Tom, you'll be surprised to see how much he has changed. That is number 1. And you might be surprised to see how much he has changed. Might be another answer. If you remember, we can use might be in future meaning. If you see Tom is a present or simple present, you will be future definitely. You might be also future. Number 3, we won't find pace until we dash who did this. You see, we won't find pace. Won't means will not. So if you see in the future, then second part must be present tense because it's a first conditional. So we won't find peace until we find who did this. So A is the most suitable answer in this case. Number 4, you'll know what true love is as soon as you dash it. Look at the first part of the sentence. You will know what true love is as soon as. Use it find it, will find, or may find. Definitely it is find because you will know is the future simple. Next grammar test. If you don't believe me, ask John. Choose 2 correct options. Okay, that's cool. If you don't believe me, ask John. That's the first one because future simple and present simple. And if you don't believe me, you ask John. Though that is not the natural way. You should ask John. You see, when you use modal verbs are also deemed as if future tense. Bravo, that's cool. Next page. Okay, we still have got 9 minutes more. God, that's great. That's great. Let's finish it quickly. If I dash a job soon, I won't have enough money for the rent. So is it if I won't find, don't find, should find? If I don't find a job soon, I won't have enough money for the rent. So don't find is the most suitable in this case. Present tense, I won't have enough money. Won't is the future tense. Number 7, I won't believe until I see it. I don't believe it until I see it. I'm not believing it until I see it. Okay. So until I see it is the present tense. Okay, guys. So the first part should be of definitely future tense. I won't believe is the only future tense. Don't believe, I'm not believing is present tense. So let's choose won't believe. Number 8. If you open those files attached to your email, your computer dash infected. Alright, if you open those files attached to your email, your computer gets infected, might get infected. If you remember once again, we use modal verb as a future meaning. So if you open the files attached to your email, your computer might get infected is the correct and appropriate answer. Number 9. When I dash older, I'll buy a Ferrari, the famous expensive car. So when I am older, I buy a Ferrari. When I might be older, I'll buy a Ferrari. When I will be older, I'll buy a Ferrari. What do you think, guys, in this case? Yeah, I'll buy a Ferrari. Remember, this part is future simple or future indefinite. So we must use the present simple or present indefinite. So when I'm older, I'll buy a Ferrari. Number 10. If he studies more, he dashed the exam. There are two possibilities. If he studies more, he will pass exam. The reason is that if he studies more is a present simple, and we can choose he will pass the exam. And there is another possibility, as I said, he might pass the exam. Is also correct. Yeah, who check the answers? Pass, correct. So 1 was correct, 2 is correct, 3 is correct, 4 is correct, 5 is correct, 6 is correct, 7 is correct, 8 is correct, 9 is correct, 10 is correct. Let me see. Number 3. Oh, there is another test. Okay, let's do it. Okay, if I get up late, I dash the miss. We have to choose. If I get up late, I will miss the bus. If I get up is the present simple, so we have to use future simple. If the sentence starts with present simple, once again, first conditional, we must use the second part, future simple. If I get up late, I will miss the bus. Okay, if dash the bus. Okay, so now we're restructuring. If I miss the bus, I'll be late. If I miss the bus, I'll be late for my class. You have to use miss and be. Next one is number 3. Okay, let us write. I will miss the bus. Guys, can you see it clearly? If I miss the bus, I will be late. Late for my class. Number 2. Number 3, you have to use be and fail. If I'm late, I will fail. Fail. If I'm late for class, I'll fail in the exam. That is number 3. Number 4, then you have to use fail and be again. If I dash the exam, my parents, okay, if I fail in the exam, my parents will be angry. If my parents are angry, this is be and not by. Look at this. If my parents are angry, They won't buy me a guitar. Okay, again, not buy, not be. If my parents don't buy a guitar, let's do it, don't buy me a guitar, I won't be able to able to take guitar lessons. Number 7. Okay, if I not become, if I don't take guitar lesson, I'll not become musician. A musician. Dash. If I dash a musician, not become. If I'm not a musician, if I'm not a musician, okay, it's not become, I'm sorry, it should be don't. If I don't become a musician, I might have to take a different job. If I don't become a musician, I might have to take a different job. Okay, guys, so we've got 50 seconds. That's all about today, the first conditional. Once again, thank you very much for watching. Though you're not able to make comments, I can see many people are watching. If you have learned something from my lesson, if you're interested to join any of my lessons, it's easy. Visit my account and sign up from there. Thank you very much. I will see you when I see you. You take care and bye. And do not forget to practice every day, whatever you have learned today. Practice makes you confident. Practice gives you positive vibe within you. Okay? Practice every day on the 4 skill: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.